The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios.
Hi, this is Mia Mosinzia, also known as Mia No Time for Love. Check out my latest book, Missing, available in print and ebook formats on Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and sponsored by international award-winning author Mia Mosinzia of Missing. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on over 40 podcast platforms, as well as hamiltonradio.net, Diamonds FM, and themikewagnershow.com. We can be heard in over 100 countries, featuring over 1,000 well-known and amazing guests throughout the globe. And named one of the top 100 global podcasts in the New York Weekly Times, Hollywood Entertainment News, Los Angeles Weekly Times, Apple, and Chartable. So sit back and relax and enjoy another great episode of the award-winning Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosinzia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's a retired IBM executive, Army National Guard veteran, and a former rock band manager and support group leader for a very special group out there, which we love to hear about. He's also a motivational speaker, and on this day, on his birthday, on July 13th, 2011, his silence was stolen and woke up to 4 different noises, which were horrendous. We'll cover all that. He began his long, frustrating journey into, which is etched in pain, to going through treatment options, and informed that, well, you got to suck it up. Is that the case? Not really. And he also helps veterans, not veterans, to combat with a condition. And this is something that's been never discussed. And for those who are experiencing a little ring, I think this will be really good as well. He is a wonderful expert. Live, ladies and gentlemen, in Plus Studios, somewhere in beautiful Daytona Beach. Retired IBM executive, Army National Guard veteran, former rock band manager, and support group leader of American Tinnitus Association, and a motivational speaker. You've got to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented Sal Gentile. Sal, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much for having me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Sal. You're a retired IBM executive, Army National Guard veteran. You're a former rock band manager and support group leader for American Tinnitus Association, and a motivational speaker. And your silence was stolen back on your birthday on July 13, 2011. Welcome to the 4 different horrendous sounds in both ears. And you began your long, frustrating journey into pain, to basically trying to get treatment options. And you're informed by numerous providers that you got to, well, live with it, suck it up, and everything like that. You're basically out to help veterans and non-veterans to combat the condition. And you've got an amazing story to tell on tinnitus as well. And before getting all that, Sal, tell us how you first got started.
So I'm going to go back to 1970 for a minute. In basic training, Fort Jackson, South Carolina. A lot of grenades, practice grenades going off, M16, fire, louder Humvees and tanks and what we call deuce and a halves, the old huge trucks that they had out there. So, I came home and I was out with my wife a couple of days later, and I said, geez, do you hear those crickets? She said, what crickets? And I said, those crickets that are out there. She said, I don't hear any crickets. So I didn't really think nothing of it at the time. And so as time went on, I joined this bicycle. I'm a long-distance bicyclist, a little bit slower now in my going to my mid-70s, but still ride. And I was riding with a group. We're doing a 100-mile ride, and I heard, and I thought they said right turn. So I made a right, and everybody else made a left. There's 50 men and women cyclists going to the left, and I'm all alone going to the right. I had to come back and work twice as hard to catch up. Oh, no. So, the story goes on. This just worsened and worsened. We would go to social events, my wife and I would pretend to laugh and hear what people were saying. And I had no idea. And I'll be honest with you, this is very embarrassing because today a lot of people do this. It's bad enough we're in, restaurants that don't really have any real acoustics. Rule of thumb is now we sit next to a wall because that's the best place to sit. But people fake it, and it's a shame because we shouldn't have to do that to have a quality of life. Well, on July 13th, approximately 15 years ago, after all of this, as I just explained, I knew I had some kind of loss in my ears. I didn't know what it was. I woke up in the morning. I was out that night. I don't really drink. I'm not really a drinker, but so I was out with some couples and friends to celebrate my birthday. And the next morning, I got up and geez, I woke up and I had these 3-4 noises blasting through my ears. I'll describe them to you quickly.
Absolutely. Yeah. We like to hear them as well, too. And in case there's anybody having these troubles, you can pretty much understand.
Absolutely. There's people who understand this out there who need help and hope. I'm going to stop that. I don't want to get off this subject for now, but they do need a lot of support. Their education comes first. Mm-hmm. So getting back to this, one was which I still have, was the rattle of a rattlesnake. The second one was an old steam pipe hissing with a very shooting, loud hissing sound as if somebody had knocked the top of the old radiator off with that steam just shooting up. The third one, it's a machine type of noise. It sounds more like a conveyor belt. And the fourth one, I really can't describe that well. It's kind of like rock waves hitting a wall and just crashing against the wall in a tsunami. It's something to that effect.
Like a surf or anything like that. I can totally picture where it's like you have a crashing wave hitting a wall, like whoosh, like a tidal wave of some sorts. Yes,
like a slamming whoosh. We want to be careful with the whoosh because there is a group who hear their heartbeat. They're called the whooshes. So we can talk about that. There's different types of tinnitus. So don't want to, jump ahead of myself here. So I didn't get out of bed for 3 days. I'm a very social person. My wife had no understanding whatsoever of what was happening. I had the covers over my head, and I was just petrified. I thought I had brain damage. No idea what this was. So finally, she, got me out of bed and said, "Listen, this isn't like you. You like to organize. You're a leader. You go to work. You're working for IBM, and you do all these things. And this is crazy." So I said, I get it. Okay. So we went to my general practitioner, and he diagnosed me. And he said, "Hey, Sal, you have tinnitus. That's tinnitus, tinnitus, or as the professionals, some people call it, tinnitus, tinnitus." So with that being said, I said to him, "Well, what's tinnitus? I have no tendonitis in my arm. That's what people think." And he said, "No." He said, "That's ringing in the ears." And I said, "Ring in the ears?" And he said, "Yeah, you can hear ringing, you can hear whooshing, you could hear crickets, you can hear all sorts of different chirping, all sorts of different noises." And I said, "But I got these 4 noises blowing through my head." And he looked at me and right into my eyes, and he said, "Well, you're just going to have to live with it." And it was kind of rude. And I said, "Excuse me?" And he said, "You're just going to have to live with it." So I walked out, and I thought, how could I ever learn to function and live with this? How would I, if I wanted to go to, back to school and take another subject or a course or any read? How could I work? How could I concentrate on anything? So it was quite upsetting. Well, that wasn't good enough for me. And so I approached approximately and actually seen, I'd say about 15 different hearing professionals, everything from a hearing professional to an acupuncturist, um, spinal decompression, sacrocranial massage, everything possible, and nothing worked. And the ENTs and God bless them, but the ear, nose, and throat doctors. We'll talk about them a little bit later if we have time. But they basically said, live with it. So Mike, this isn't me, and that again was just not good enough for me. So I started doing some research, and I found this organization called the American Tinnitus Association.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a 501c3 charity, the only organization in the United States that basically works on donations, but their main function is to help find cures by running what we call cure trials. Different professors and hearing professionals around the United States, that some who I know work on finding cures 24 hours a day on mice and different however discoveries they're trying to come up with in the brain, which is an amazing organ. And I joined, and I thought, well, maybe they can help me. And so I seen this list of doctors in Florida, and one was over in University of Florida Health, Shands. And good guy, Chris Bankovich, went and seen him, spent 4 hours with him, and he explained everything to me. He explained what I had, why I had it, and more importantly, what we were going to do about it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'd like to hear more about it. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is, obviously, I had a hearing loss, and what we'll start off with the brain. First of all, tinnitus is predominantly in the brain, not in your ears. Most people think it's in the ears that I've worked with, the hundreds that I've worked with, but it's basically in the brain. So I can tell you that maybe 90 to 95% of people that have tinnitus have hearing loss. So behind your head, you have these two bumps. Okay, those are your cochlea. You can feel one on the left and right, directly above your neck. Those are your cochlear nerves. And in those cochlear nerves, you have hair cells. And they're like blades of grass, as an analogy. They're really more synthetic than anything else. They're receptors for hearing. Mm-hmm. So as time goes on, as we I hate to say the word age, but as we age, and basically
or progression, something like that. So progression,
and
I think we got something going here. Yeah, I do.
You understand thing. Exactly. So I'm very sensitive about that. So as we move forward in time, they just start bending and bending and bending. Musicians, veterans, people who work in manufacturing plants, any type of loud noise, people who cut lawns, they don't protect their hearing. People who go to concerts, these are all the people I've worked with over the years. And so these hair cells start bending and bending and bending. Now, they get damaged, basically. So, no, our brain isn't damaged. We don't need surgery, but what we do need is to find out exactly, how bad that damage is. In most cases, it's from hearing loss. And these receptors for hearing, obviously, let's say like mine are damaged. I have hearing aids on now, but I wouldn't be able to hear your voice. So, because they're struggling. And so when they can't find your voice or your sound coming into my ears or sound coming into my ears, they come up with this phantom noise called tinnitus. And I'm giving you a very high level because I can get into serotonin levels and trapdoors in the brain. We don't go there. So this is a very, very high level, but easy picture to understand of where tinnitus actually originates from, where hearing loss originates from, why we have it as we get, and as we do age like a fine wine, always say positively.
Or galvanized too. I thought of another one, galvanized.
There you go. Yes. These hair cells just keep bending, excuse me, and bending. And, so in my case, I was a young man, basically in my 50s. And I had to do something about this. So I was given a pair of hearing aids to try, and because your brain really has to get acclimated to them. And at the same time, I was introduced to something called white noise. Now, there are 3 different kinds of noises. There's white noise, there's lavender noise, there's pink noise. I was trained on white noise, and I'll explain. White noise was something a little bit more rougher. It was running water. Now, some people have tinnitus. They'll go in the shower and they won't hear it because the shower is masking the noise that's going through their brain. But in my case, I needed something a little bit more than a shower water. So I bought a little iPod. I still have it. It saved my life. $60 iPod, loaded it with white noise, but kept that running water on there first for me to listen to 6 to 8 hours a day. Now, what did that do for me? This is called brain retraining. So what happens is we help people find a noise that's pleasant to them. It could be, sometimes it is crickets, sometimes it's baby's heartbeats, a little bit lighter noise like oceans, and so we play this, we keep this going through our brain, and eventually the brain picks up on the more pleasant noise and disconnects from the horrible noises that you're hearing. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't hear those 4 noises. Actually, we keep it low, because if you would think about it, if we kept it real loud and masked the noises that we were hearing, or noise that we're hearing, when we took the earbuds out, we would be like, it'd be much louder, right? Because we had the noise running so loud. So we keep it low, and it takes a while. It is not something that happens overnight. It takes a positive attitude. It takes someone coaching people and keeping them in the present. And sometimes we do some deep breathing with that to keep people in the present. I meditate, but I'm not big on, getting people to meditate right away. I try to use, there's a lot behind this. You got to understand their background. You have to understand, were they veterans? Were they musicians? What type of work did they? Did they go to concerts? So when I work with people, there's so much involved before I could even try and help them. But then, like myself, a plan was put together, and we work with the plan, and we move forward and take day by day. And so over time, after I'd say a couple of months, you hear the noises, but they kind of fade to the background. The noises don't go away, but your brain is now being retrained to hear this pleasant noise. So that iPod came with me wherever. It's in the other room right now. It still works.
Like that.
Yes. So that's one of what we call brain retraining, or what we call the number one support structure, or the ATA, the American Tinnitus Association, would explain that for, in this simple manner for tinnitus. And hearing aids are actually the number one support structure. People get hearing aids, bam, 90% of their tinnitus is minimized, and their quality of life returns. So,
how do you like that?
So that's the start of it. I mean, there's so much more, but anyway, I'm just going to keep moving forward. Well, I was so thrilled that I took my wife on a cruise, and we actually flew to Australia, and we did things like snorkel in the not the first barrier reef that's being destroyed, unfortunately, the second one, all the way out there, and I had a great time. We hiked in the Blue Mountains, and we did so many different things, and it never bothered me. It was there. I kept the iPod with me, but it just never bothered me. So when I came home, I decided that I needed to give back to this organization that was so loyal and dedicated in helping me find someone that helped me, get my life back, the quality of my life back. My silence was stolen. The people that might be listening to this, their silence is stolen. We're never going to get our silence back, but that doesn't mean that we can't live a productive life, regardless of that. I'm a very big advocate on helping people. There are people out there who charge you all sorts of money to, we'll do one session for an hour, we'll do another. No, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a radiologist. I'm just someone who gets it. You don't get it until you get it. And that's what I have that shirt on. That's what tinnitus. That's what tinnitus actually is really all about. So I went out and fundraised, and I organized 100-mile bicycle rides, not just in the state of Florida, but in different states, because the American Tinnitus Association is in every state in the United States, and so a lot of interested people, and we all donated money, and we all rode in the different states on the same day. It was a 100-mile ride, and everybody reported in, and the American Tinnitus Association was putting this all up on their Facebook and website. And in addition to that, I also did organized a fundraiser in Tampa Bay of Ferrari of Tampa Bay, excuse me. And Ferrari was willing to let huge donors take the little rides in the Ferraris, which was very cool. I had doctors there and lawyers and God knows who else. And so I raised over $20,000 for tinnitus cures. And that was a very big thing. And then I took it a step further and went to the mayor of Tampa at the time and said, this is May, and it's Tinnitus Awareness Week called TAW, T-A-W. I would like to dedicate the city of Tampa to Tinnitus Awareness Week and ask for your help. And he helped me. We got the word out, and he gave me actually an awarded voluntary proclamation from the city of Tampa. And, we had some photographers there and a lot of people who have this condition. So, this isn't about me. It's about whatever I can do to promote it. Meanwhile, backtracking, I started support groups. These support groups were wonderful in terms of helping people. My first one I remember was at USF, University of South Florida. I was extremely nervous and didn't know what to expect. And there was a audiology department there that very wonderful people who on their own time helped me set up the classroom. And so I stood there and waited, and I thought, was anybody going to come in here? Mike, the line was out the door and around the corner.
Really? It must be that long and popular. Wow.
Yes. And they filled it. So
my goodness.
I had approximately 60 people in the room. And you have to educate people first. Because if you have a medical challenge and you don't really know what it is, right? And you're thinking it's something and it's something else, whatever. Somebody's got to sit you down, doctor sits you down and say, listen, this is what you have. It's the same thing with tinnitus. You sit the person down and you say, look, this is where it's coming from, everything I just explained to you. And when you educate someone, they feel just a little bit better. They starting to feel some hope about what they have and how they can be helped. And they have a mentor. And more importantly, they know they're not alone. They know they're not alone. So that went over very well, but you have 1 hour to educate 60 people who asking you questions, each one of them, and everyone has a different tinnitus. So
Oh, yes. You know what? A different type of tinnitus. You said there was like four, several of them and all that. And what are they? We'll find out with the amazing Sal Gentile. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. It's powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews. An Evil Evan endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forge Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com on over 40 podcast platforms. Heard in 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, also Apple Music, Odyssey. Subscribe to us on BitChute, Rumble, YouTube, and follow us on social media on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and more. Make sure you take us with you on any mobile device. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast, T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today and support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the mikewagnershow.com. We're here with the retired IBM executive and Army National Guard veteran, former rock band manager, and also tonight's expert, Sal Gentile, here on the Mike Wagner Show. That was an amazing story you told about Sal. You're giving by hope, support, and everything. And what are the different types of tinnitus? And let's hear about those.
Okay, just a quick one, Mike, if I may. I don't want to leave out our veterans. So tinnitus is the leading service disability right now, and probably 30% of all vets have tinnitus. In 2021, 167,000 were reported, and right now, with all veterans, there's $2.5 million of disability going out there. So just some numbers to throw at you to get an idea of what our veterans are suffering from.
Oh my gosh!
I want to answer your question on the tinnitus, the different types. I'm going to go with the most I think is interesting, but it's very challenging. It's called MES, musical ear syndrome. So I'm sure you've had that feeling. I have a tune in my head, and yeah. So there are people who actually hear the national anthem, Mozart. I can go on with the amount of songs but it plays over and over and over and never stops. And,
okay, so it's like the same song going over and over again, just like that one guy. I think one of the Army generals got subject to loud rock going through his ears, like several weeks before almost going deaf. Was it that type?
So it's again, it's in the brain, but it's that type. It could be that type or any type actually. And we have to remember these are external sounds that don't exist, right? So I mean, this really doesn't exist. You think someone's playing this out there, and they're really not. It's in their head. So very difficult to treat. Usually a psychologist, and I won't get into this, another support structure for this, but usually psychologists work with these people with something called cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, which I took for 7 years with a psychologist. So I have some good credentials in understanding and helping people, particularly going back to the veterans with post-traumatic stress and TBI, traumatic brain injury. So another type is called, we have what's called, interestingly enough, pulsatile tinnitus. That's where they actually hear their heart beating. And actually, there are support groups called the whooshes, because you mentioned before whooshing sound. It's kind of like whoosh, 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 and they hear that 24/7, and that's all they hear. So again, that can be treated with hearing aids, white noise, very different types of soft noise, lavender noise, we call it, oceans and babies' heartbeats and, crickets and those types of noises. We also have what's called reactive hyperacusis, very challenging to deal with. So what happens is when you're listening to white noise or any type of noise, or even with hearing aids on, the sound ramps up the tinnitus when it should be helping them retrain the brain. It is to some extent, but it also makes it louder. And so, for instance, I went out to eat with a friend of mine, and I knew he had it, and we ended up sitting someplace behind a service tray there that were doing dishes, or I don't know, and all of a sudden, bam, all these dishes broke, and this man jumped about 6 feet off his chair, literally.
Or like a case like you slam, you close the door, but then it's a slam, or you tap this, but it's like a bam and all that. So
it's the noise. It's the noise that ramps up, and they get what's called the spike. A spike means that now it's so loud, it just doesn't go away. The white noise isn't doing anything to help it. And that can last anywhere. I mean, I've had them for a month. I've had them for a day. So that's constant high noise. It has to be treated very gently with this lavender or pink noise, and definitely by a psychologist. They work with people with reactive tinnitus. So basically, it's what, the philosophy is what you're saying. It's noise that is a little bit louder, that can create the tinnitus to be louder in their brain, or to just get louder in the brain. So that brings up the last thing, which is medications. When people get tinnitus, they get anxious. They develop anxiety disorders. They go to psychiatrists. What does a psychiatrist do? A psychiatrist does what they're programmed to do. They give you antidepressants. Well, the antidepressants are what we call ototoxic medications, or poisonous to the brain. Poisonous in the sense that they can damage the hair cells or little sensory cells in the ear. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds. I get different stories. I'm a boots to the ground person. I'm not really, I love the American Tinnitus Association. Don't get me wrong, but I'm out on my own. I get calls every day. Sometimes I'll even work with people over the computer. I work with a young lady from England. I work with veterans. I have a gentleman who was in the Navy, went down in a helicopter crash, traumatic brain injury, tinnitus. Been working with him for many, many years. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and hope that every day that I can help someone, I can just make their life and the world a little bit better.
It certainly does as well, too. And of course, going over, we talked about, you were a former IBM executive, Army National Guard vet. We talked a little bit about that. Being a former rock band manager, that's an interesting one. Yeah.
So there's many sides to this, Mike, and we didn't get into ear protection. So that was just an interesting situation that occurred. A friend of mine had this rock band, and he wanted me to come and listen to him and his friends. They were practicing, and so what do I know about? I know music. I mean, I'm a little bit. Again, we're getting to age. I'm a little bit older, and I love the Rolling Stones and the Beatles, and I can go on and on to the Cream and all these different bands from years ago. And so they're playing this music, and I'm like, but so we wear earplugs, right, for ear protection. Now, I have certain ones that cost $300, and I have ones that, ear protection that cost $20. So I decided to put on the $300 pair, and I went and listened to them, and they were terrible. And so, so
was it the songs or the band? You wonder about that one.
The band, the band needed someone to coach them, and for instance, so the guitar player, the bass player, stood there and just strummed away with this big old hat on and didn't crack a smile or anything. So I would go up next to him and say, no. It's kind of like this. And I would start dancing and moving around. And, well, I mean, he had great music coming out of that bass. The drummer was a very good friend of mine, the manager of the band. And the lead guitar player was, I mean, he was excellent, but he would put me to sleep. Well, we practiced for about 30 days. I did watch my hearing. I mean, it wasn't maybe a smart thing to do, but I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I like to try, very open-minded, like try different things. I knew I wasn't going to get hurt. I knew how to take care of myself, helping, I wasn't going to become a second example. Silent Stolen was enough, but because I wanted to keep helping people, and of course, to help myself. So I just worked with them and, got them moving around and picked different kinds of songs that they might want to play, and, got them a gig in a club. And wow, I mean, the first night there was a new band, and, you had about 200 people in this club, and, it was, and all you saw when that your band is doing well is when you just see heads bobbling up and down, because everybody's out on that dance floor.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, they weren't making much money. They weren't getting paid much for it, but they didn't care. Well, we started with one club, and then we ended up at another club, and then we ended up in bigger clubs, and this went on and on and on until COVID hit. And that was the end of that. So it was a short time, but I enjoyed what I did. And, I protected my hearing. And, we have to stay away, of course, from those loudspeakers. I do work also with anyone. I don't care how young they are. I've worked with, college, especially freshman college men and women who get in front of those speakers, and they contract tinnitus, or something called ID, instant deafness, and they can't hear out of one ear when they get out of there, and they go to the ENT and they put an injection of steroids in them, and they end up with tinnitus. And now you got this poor young person trying to go through college, with noise rattling through their brain. So, and I work with 90-year-olds. I mean, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. But these are I love working with people. I love helping people. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. I was fortunate enough to get on Fox last year. They did an interview over my home. They found this whole ordeal very, very interesting. And the next day I had 275 emails.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So, anybody can email me. I think you have my email, the tvtinnitus at gmail.com.
Correct. Yeah, I've got that. You also have another way of contacting you. And how else can Sal help you? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, and brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia of Missing. We'll be back with the amazing tinnitus expert Sal Gentile after this time.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention The Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. it talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamosenzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers, and boy, are you in luck. Right place, right time. Tuned in to The Mike Wagner Show. You heard me.
We're back with Sal Gentile, the tinnitus expert here on The Mike Wagner Show, and a very, very good story you talked about, and some of the things you can do, very inspiring to people. And of course, lastly, how can people reach out to you? How can people join? And most importantly, how can we help?
I think giving me an opportunity to be on the show and just letting the listeners hear, I did look up some audiologists and hearing professionals in North Dakota. And I found out that a lot of the people who do go in there is from tractor noise and machinery, farm machinery noise, and just read a little bit about that. I try to pry a little. So if they are willing to get some help, and a lot deny it, they're in denial, but please don't be in denial. It's not embarrassing. I would love to hear from them, and I'd love to try and help them.
Mm-hmm. And also too, don't forget the coal mine workers who are subject. We're not underground. It's surface mining. You got the machines and the drag line. You got the workers working on them and also operating as well too. And of course, being out in the field, you also got the oil patch workers. You got the plant workers, gas plant electricians, and just about everything else. And of course, people like ourselves too. And it's also really good help. So make sure you reach out. And how do people reach out to you again?
So they can email me at TV, that's Thomas Victor Tinnitus, TINNITUS @gmail.com. And I'll make arrangements to get in touch with them from there.
All right. We'll certainly do that as well. We're with the amazing tinnitus expert, Sal Gentile, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more things. What else can we expect in 2024 and beyond, Sal?
So I would love to see some sort of a cure, a tinnitus cure. I would love to see them finally, hopefully coming out. They're getting there, but we don't want to, there's no cure right now, but they're getting out. They're getting close, and it's just a matter of being able to find something that they can put into the brain that can reach those hair cells and straighten them out without having to drill a hole in the brain. So I would love, God forbid, I'd love to see that take place, and it's probably going to need about 5 or 6 different types of cures for the different types of tinnitus, but I would just be heartfelt to see them come out with some sort of a cure. So, I look forward to that. I look forward to, I live an active life, I'll be 75, I act like I'm 50. My life's not that much different. And, I still ride my road bike. I take hot yoga, and I'm looking to expand to do different things. I live in a very quiet neighborhood, coming from a very crowded neighborhood in Florida. So, spend a lot of time at the beach, relaxing, and just living a quality life.
And certainly indeed as well, too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
I'm sorry?
Who do you consider biggest influence in your career in general, or anything like that?
Wow. I guess off the top of my head, Winston Churchill is a big influence. Change is inevitable. And if you cannot change your mind, you cannot change anything. So that's something that always stays with me. And that's in my heart. So again, that's my story. I try to help make change.
And you're certainly doing a great job of it, Sal. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
So, as far as if they have this condition, I would tell them that they have to stay positive, a positive attitude. Positive attitude gets you everywhere. Take some deep breaths. And if you're thinking about worrying about the next day or the day prior, a lot of stress out there, in the world right now, financial situations, family situations, whatever it may be, take a few deep breaths and try and get back into the present and just be positive. And no matter what type of situation you have, there's always a different side to it, and you just have to discover it, and you can discover it. Positive attitude is the strongest attribute someone can have.
Mm-hmm. And that's very important as well, especially like you, Sal. You've been totally amazing. Once again, with tonight's expert, Sal Gentile, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Great story, Sal. Very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing and fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We love to have you back. And also, I forgot to ask you if there's a website out there. If so, do so. Otherwise, how do people contact you or reach out?
That's basically right now we're using my email as we're building a new website.
Okay, and the email to reach out to you at is?
It's T as in Tom, V as in Victor, tinnitus, TINNITUS @gmail.com.
All right. We'll have people reach out to you, Sal. And once again, Sal, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic and amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We love you back. Wish all best. And Sal, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to be on your show. And let's hope that what you and you in particular, have just helped through you. We have just helped a lot of other people, or will help them.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotivationalspeaker.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show. Brought to you by international award-winning author Mia Mosin-Zia of Missing. And powered by Sonic Web Studios. Be sure to join us again on over 40 podcast platforms. And of course on the mikewagnershow.com, hamiltonradio.net, and Diamonds FM. Don't forget to support our program with a generous donation at themikewagnershow.com. Thanks for listening.